Okay. Hello. We live? I think we're live. Give me one moment. I'm still doing some last minute setup. We got a kind of a show for you today, gang. Okay. A lot to discuss, a lot to talk about, and it's related to a stream. I went live on Saturday. I don't normally go live on Saturday. You all know this, right? If you've watched me enough, I'm usually pretty strict about my weekends. Though again, I've made exceptions here or there. But there was a lot of information coming out. There was a lot of stuff that I wanted to discuss coming out. And so, dear viewer, I decided to go live and talk a little bit about it and make my case why I thought that Twitch was allowing anti-Semitism, not doing anything to combat it, and low-key promoting it in some cases. Since I did that stream, a ton of more information has come out, right? It is worse than I thought. Worse than I thought. And we're going to talk about it today, okay? We're going to go over the Danifesto. So Dan can't stream. I don't know if you know him. He does the Anything Else podcast with Destiny. He has been collating a ton of evidence about this, right? And he's made a lot of tweets. He's made a lot of statements. And I've taken the day and collated a bunch of this evidence, okay? And we're going to go over it a little bit. We're going to go over it. Aristocracy may or may not be joining us. I hope she is. I talked to her about it, and I'd like to hear her thoughts. She's made some claims too, but I can't corroborate those. I don't know those, and you'll have to, if she shows up, well, she can speak for herself, right? And we will hear directly from her. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Give me 1 second, gang. Give me 1 second. And we're gonna talk about it. What's up, Wick? What's up, Blocky Blah? Zephyr Hash, nice to see you. YouTube in the house. Okay, I've been considering like it really is a moral question at this point. Do I want to even stream on Twitch still? I'm torn, gang. I'm torn on this. On the one hand, like I said Saturday, right? I don't want to quit the field. I don't want it to be if everyone who isn't anti-Semitic leaves Twitch, it's just going to get worse, right? It's just going to get worse. And I don't think it helps anything. But at the same time, it's just so gross. It's just so bad. And we're going to go over the evidence today. The accusation that was leveled at Twitch was that they had blocked anyone from Israel and Palestine, Gaza, the West Bank, etc., from making an account, from being able to sign up to Twitch. That was the accusation. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, why would they do this? That's stupid. For a whole host of reasons, right? Like, they're not banning anyone from Ukraine doing it, right? They're not. There's a whole host of countries that aren't banned. That if you're gonna ban a war zone, right? Which maybe you would. There might be an argument for that. This isn't why choose this one and not any of the others across the globe? But I was very suspicious about it. I was like, because this is the kind of information that like you hear it and it confirms all your priors. It confirms everything you've thought, and you're like, no, it's too good to be true. Not in that it's a good information, but in that like, no, this is just like someone coming up and just saying you're right about everything you've ever believed in. It made me suspicious. So I had someone that I knew for 100% lived in Israel, okay? When I heard about it, I went and I talked to someone who I knew lived in Israel, 100%. And I was like, hey, can you try this? Can you try and sign up and see if they'll allow you to sign up for Twitch? They couldn't. They were unable to. Not using email, not using phone. I was, holy shit. Holy shit, this is real. This is really happening. They decided to ban an entire nation. Okay? 2, if you want to count Palestine as separate, right? It gets a little messy in how you differentiate these things, right? That's crazy. It felt crazy. It still feels crazy to me, gang. It still feels crazy. Why would you do this, right? Twitch has since come out with a statement, and they have reversed this decision. However, there's 2 things we learned in this statement. One, that, and we'll read the statement. Don't worry, we'll get to it, gang. We'll get to it, okay? I'm just setting the stage, setting the scene. We're talking about it, right? So, 1, we learned that this ban has been in place since October 13th of last year. So, about 6 days after October 7th happened. That's the first piece of information we've learned. Now, I wasn't aware that new accounts were being banned. I wasn't. I had Israeli people watch me, mostly on YouTube, by the way, right? So I never even considered it. I never even thought about it. However, there has been Jewish streamers and people who live in people who live in Israel who have been complaining about this for about a year now, right? They have a hashtag, and we'll go over it, and they have some examples. It never crossed my timeline. It never crossed my eyes, so I wasn't able to be aware of this. That is a crazy thing to do. And their excuse that Twitch gives, and we'll read it in the statement, is that they didn't want accounts showing gore, basically, showing propaganda posts about the October 7th stuff. The problem with that is if you, like, banning Israel and Palestinian users from being able to sign up from Twitch wasn't going to stop that. The images from October 7th had been spread throughout the internet, right? They'd already gone viral. A lot of accounts saw it. I don't know if any of them watched them directly on stream, but this is something that people talked about. The images were shared around. Like, this ban, there is no conceivable way that it would stop the problem that they claim to want to stop. And if it's the case that you want to do this, why did you not do this for Ukrainian accounts when Russia invaded? Why did you not do this for Lebanese accounts, right? Lebanon. If you were going to try to block users from the war zone, Lebanon was launching rockets on October 8th. And Israel was launching rockets right back, right? And they were fighting. There were strikes back and forth. There was no ban, to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was no ban for these things. Let's bring in our guest. Hello, Aristocracy. Hi.
Hey. Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. Give me a second. I gotta change my
Sure.
little screen here, okay, so people can
I
see
know
you.
the drill.
Yeah, I know. That's one of the worst things about this is I'm still not a very good tech guy, so it takes me a
Yeah,
minute to get the scene set up.
I
How
understand.
are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm trucking along. It's like I'm in a very intense transitional phase of my life. I moved a few months ago, got out of a relationship, and I'm kind of just like dealing with some shit that happened in the past for me. So, like, it's been kind of a rocky road, but I'm functioning. Like I feel like
Good.
old me would have not functioned, given everything, but I'm still, getting things done and everything. So,
No,
um,
that's good.
things are
Yeah.
all right.
What is your what I want to get before we go through all the evidence, and I've
Sure.
collated a bunch, right? Just give us your initial impressions here. What are your thoughts? Like, I'm assuming you followed the whole story. You've watched a lot of this go down. But
Yeah.
this is something you've been complaining about for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like, this all feels a little like, it's obviously it's awful, but it's also somewhat cathartic, to watch something that I and probably most Jews, who've been on the platform have known for a very long time. I mean, when you're any kind of minority, honestly, if you're anyone, if you're like a member of any group, you never want to be like that person who's like, wah, it's just because I was just getting hate because it targeted my group or whatever. Um, so, and I think like Jews especially um, feel bad about that because there hasn't really been a movement like the way you've seen it for a lot of other minority groups in the past 10 years to enable people to speak out about it or even like reward them. Um, so I think like a lot of Jews would just talk about it quietly by themselves. Maybe they make one or two comments. Um, but I remember watching Ethan Klein go through this shit, even when I watched the way Hassan would talk to him, um, and the things that people were allowed to say on Twitch, and just knowing that this would not fly for tons of other groups. I'm not going to say every other group because obviously it's diverse, but the double standards were just so frustrating to watch. And then I experienced it myself. Everyone warned me before I got into streaming. They're like, it's going to be so hard as a woman. I think I got into streaming when, like 2020. I forget the 2021, and
Okay.
everyone at the time was talking about women's issues. That's what I remember a lot. And everyone said how hard it was going to be as a woman to stream and the amount of sexual harassment I was going to get, all of this kind of stuff. And I am telling you, 99%, if you took a bot to calculate all the harassment I got, 99% of it from the get-go was me being Jewish, not me being a woman. And uh, and I remember being somewhat shocked. I'd experienced anti-Semitism in my real life a few times, but it was like maybe 4 or 5 times that explicitly. But obviously in person, it was like online, it was just
Mm.
excessive, and it's easy initially to dismiss the trolls, but I got it from other streamers. And some of those streamers did it live on stream on Twitch. So Twitch was literally funding and
Here.
facilitating and protecting them. And I would report those people saying things like, I need to go to a concentration camp. Anyone who speaks Hebrew deserves the wall, which is every single Jew who's a part of Jewish culture at all. And tons of other vile things. When someone was literally playing a video game where they just kill Jews live on stream. It was just like, yeah, it was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe when I watched people get banned for saying the word simp. I was like, wait, if we were in some like free speech, hell, I'd be like, okay, whatever. Like this is the environment that I kind of signed up for. But this was a very edited environment.
I caught a
So
yeah, I
it
caught
was
about
shocking to me.
a week-long ban. They overturned it, thank God, right? But I was banned for about a week, I think, for calling someone an incel on my stream who was actually an incel, and we were talking, right? I wasn't using it
Yeah.
derogatorily. They were just an incel that I was talking to on my stream, and they identified as an incel, so I used the term incel. I caught I think a 3 or 4 day ban for that before they overturned it. They did overturn it to their credit, but I want to bring that story up to kind of put a pin in this, like people or to piggyback on what you're saying, because they didn't attack you for being a woman because they knew if they attacked you for being a woman, there would be repercussions.
Exactly.
So they attacked you in the avenue that they knew, they understood, because I think people, unlike me, right? Like people have understood how the Twitch system works, the Twitch culture works, what it's okay to go after, what it's not okay to go after. And you can't go after white people. They banned Hassan for using the word cracker, right? They
Hmm.
banned Vosh for using the word cracker. You can't go after men, again, like you mentioned, simps, incel, etc. You can't call people that. They will They will you will get a slap on the wrist at least, if not a ban.
Yeah.
But they can go after you being a Jew or Jewish and nothing happens. Did you watch the Frogan tier list thing? Did you see any of that?
Yeah, I saw, yeah, the tier list she made where Sabra was at the bottom, um, which is hilarious. I mean, I'm an Israeli, so I've eaten a ton of hummus. So to be honest, it was just, and I do eat Sabra hummus because it's the best widely available hummus that you can
Mm.
find. Um, and the enormous hate that that brand gets, like, is just, I mean, it's pretty obvious where it comes from, and also what the word means. I'm glad a lot of people now are starting to know what the word is and everything. But yeah, just ranking people from Arab to like Arab coded, and then they put all the people they don't like in the Jew category. It was just, I just like, these people are just, they're just racial supremacists, just in like another, in an, in different clothes.
Do you think this
Um,
is ignorance or
Crazy.
malice on Twitch's part?
I used to think it was ignorance.
Mm.
I used to think it was just like like a mix of ignorance and also just like commercialness. Like Jews are a very small population. In the streaming world, numbers and views are everything. So winning over Jews for your stream is just not useful. But Muslims and Arabs are a massive population. Like they're huge. So and on top of that, Gen Z is extremely anti-Semitic. It might just make sense commercially to start, at least to turn a blind eye to some of the anti-Semitism from people like Hassan Piker or Frogan or just tons of the other streamers. The thing is that I feel like it's gotten so obvious that it actually almost feels like advocacy now. Um, that
What do you mean by that? It feels like advocacy. Can you elaborate a little bit?
I think like um I don't know if you've read the Dan's website about
Oh,
the
Dan Clancy
CEO.
sucks or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
Um
it. Yeah, don't worry.
and um there are just so many instances, all if you just if you catalog all the recent news, the fact that they unbanned Sneeko, like all these people who actually don't just hate Jews, right? Because they don't just hate Jews, because normally those people would get off scot-free. They're like, someone like Hassan Piker or whatever. Though I think he hates Ukrainians too. But um but they unbanned people like Sneeko or Fresh and Fit and these shows that also are kind of breaking a lot of lefty things that would normally get banned on Twitch. But the thing that they're known for right now, that their new issue is hating Jews. So, and then that happened at the exact same time that they just unbanned the Houthi pirate. That was huge news,
Yeah, I
right?
saw they banned
About that.
him. He got on Twitch, right? And they banned him real quick. And I was like, okay. And then 12 hours later, right? It took longer for me to get an unban, okay?
Yeah.
For saying incel. It took a few days. It took this guy 12 hours to get unbanned. Now, you can, regardless of what you think of whether or not he should have been banned in the first place, that's another conversation. In their
Yeah.
toss, in Twitch's terms of service, they have a set of rules. And it's clear that if you go after Jews, they are going to look the other way.
Mhm.
Can you think of, and no
Yeah.
one, I talked to Tuna Chip on Saturday about this and he couldn't give me an answer. Maybe you can. Can you think of any time any streamer on Twitch has caught even a slap on the wrist for anti-Semitism?
I can't think of it. I honestly can't.
I can't either. I can't find one. I can't find a clip of it. I can't find someone being banned at all. I can't find someone being suspended for a few days. Now that's possible that I just haven't found it yet, right? It's possible that it's there. I'm not going to dismiss that possibility. But the more I look into this, the worse it gets for Twitch. Um, it becomes clearer and clearer and clearer that I don't know. I can't excuse it as ignorance anymore. I can't say, oh, they're just not paying attention. This is being brought to their attention. It's being brought to us all of our attentions. I also find it very telling the different responses. Asmongold's statement, which to be clear, was gross. I don't think
Yeah.
what he said was okay, right? But whole ass news articles were written about that, right? Condemning that, exposing that. Nothing. We've got nothing. Everyone's
Yeah, but
fucking
Hassan
decided
Piker has
silent.
said the exact same things about other groups.
Oh yeah, about
Like,
Tibet.
he said the same thing
Yeah.
about Tibet. He said the same thing about Israelis. So again, the thing is, the ironic thing is, I'm not a very we've talked before. I'm less about free speech than you are.
Yes.
But I knew I knew that I was leaning more right than the average Twitch person when I joined Twitch. Everyone told me this was a lefty space where lefty ideas reign supreme because everyone else had basically been banned. Um, and but like watching even now, like usually for a while it felt like very far left Jews like Ethan Klein, and he is far left. That they would be kind of put in protected category, but compared to other Jewish streamers or creators. But obviously that was not the case, right? Because at the end of the day, for a lot of these people, there is no such thing as a good Jewish person unless they are literally pointing for other Jews to literally get killed.
The
Like,
joke, right?
that's
There a
the thing,
Zionist
yeah.
Jew walks into a bar and an anti-Zionist Jew walks into a bar. Bartender looks at them both, says, "We don't serve Jews here," right? Like
Yeah.
they don't actually distinguish. I think that I feel so bad for Ethan Klein. I feel so
Oh,
bad
me
for
too.
that man. I I don't agree with all his politics, obviously.
Hmm.
But he has been one of the most pro-Palestine voices for years. Like back in 21, uh, even before that, he was always very pro-Palestine. Always. But the fact that he refuses to chant death to Israel is enough for them to treat him like they treat any other Jew, I think should be a wake up call. If you are Jewish and you're friends with these people and you think that you simply because you have the right politics that's going to save you, I think this should be a wake up call to you, right? I think this should be a wake up call that no, as soon as you step out of line, even a little, you're going to be put in the love Sabra category and treated, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is that this type of extreme anti-Semitism, ironically, I feel like Ethan probably cares more about Palestinians than most of those people on those panels, because I've heard him advocate for them so much. And on top of that, as an Israeli and a Jewish person, he actually has a lot more power um, to contribute to Israeli society and help do things that help benefit Palestinians as well. Um, but it's just at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And I'm glad that he started to be open about it. I kept thinking the way Hassan was talking to him was Hassan treats him kind of, it's like the dynamic felt like an abuser and a victim. Um, the way he controlled his speech, the way he demonized all of his ideas. Like if you watch The Leftovers, it was really hard to watch. Just like aside from the anti-Semitism, it was this weird toxic dynamic where this guy was constantly being told he's stupid. And I'm glad that he's finally stood up for himself, like
Yeah, I
against
think it's like
Hassan.
almost in the worst way. Like, not that him standing up himself was
Yeah.
bad, right? But what I mean by
Mhm.
that is like, I've been in situations where I thought people were my friend, right? And I think
Yeah.
Ethan considered Hassan a friend. I, again, maybe I'm doing a little mind reading here. Maybe I shouldn't, but I imagine that their relationship, they thought, Ethan thought, we're buddies, we're pals, okay? And we're gonna do show together. We're gonna do some content together. Um, we'll hang out. We have a lot of the same beliefs, right? I figured that was the case, and I think Ethan recognized and realized, oh, these people I thought were my friends don't even fucking like me, right? They don't even
Yeah.
fucking like me. And that is heartbreaking to me. Maybe I'm being an open, like, bleeding heart guy here, but that I just like, oh man, no, that's ugh.
No, it's those human stories that really get to you. My grandfather survived the Holocaust, and the
Yeah.
stories that he would tell when he was alive were harrowing, some were gruesome and violent and disgusting. But of all the stories that horrified me the most, it was like when he talked about how his neighbors in Romania sold them out, that they had been friends with and close to, and had relied on, and their kids had played together. Like the kids had played together, they'd been family friends, um, and but when shit hit the fan, people, drew lines, and some people were, at the end of the day, were not really your friends, uh, and like that also, like, obviously it's a lot more extreme in a situation like that, um, but it's very hard. And as a Jewish person, it feels very isolating because again, we're such a small population, um, and it's we
Well,
do
if
have
I
to rely on
yeah,
other people,
if I
like
can
to help.
ask you, on that note,
Sure.
as someone who is Jewish, openly Jewish, identifies as Jewish, etc.,
Yeah.
um, what is there anything Twitch can? What should Twitch do if they want to be better? If they want to improve. What steps do you, as a Jew, want them to take to kind of win your trust back, if they can at all?
Um, Number one, I think they need to fire the CEO. Hands down. I'm very convinced he's an anti-Semite. I mentioned earlier a bunch of the other things that made me think that there was some like anti-Semitic advocacy going on. Um, but those things combined with the fact that they had actually banned Israeli users um, secretly and knew about it and like lied about it to individual Israeli users that would say, "Well, hey, what's going on with my account?" Um, and then they lied about it today. It makes it much more intentional. The way, and especially when you think about all these very famous unbans that have happened to these very famous Holocaust deniers and anti-Semites, like these things, these questions they don't just happen, they don't get lost in the bureaucracy, these level of decisions. This thing went higher up. And so I basically think if I was Amazon, if I was Amazon, I would want to clear out the CEO and clear out basically all the top people making those decisions.
The
I
trust and
really
safety
blame.
team, to be clear, right? That's who you're referring
Mhm.
to, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, if the trust and safety team, like I don't know, like for all I know, they're getting instructions from the CEO
Fair,
to do
fair.
something, and it's like, and at that point, it's maybe, for all we know, maybe one of them was one of the ones that blew a whistle, or was the one that talked to Destiny and Dan about it. I have no clue, but it's just at the end of the day, the CEO and the top executives who run Twitch need to go. And there is a massive cultural problem where anti Semitism is glorified, terrorism is glorified. And like Twitch has become propaganda for young people, like literal Nazi level go bullshit. And that needs to be dealt with very seriously. And so until that happens, I'm not going to be dealing with Twitch. It's confirmed a lot of they also need to literally enforce anti-Semitism bans, and they need to be very critical when
Are you
someone
going to
uses
stop
the term
streaming on
Zionist.
Twitch? Are you going to stop streaming on Twitch, delete your account?
Yeah, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Um,
I just like, yeah, because
mhm.
YouTube's just much better at dealing with this. I ironically, out of all the platforms um, that I was on, the one that dealt with the anti-Semitism the best was Twitter, um, which is so hilarious because I feel like Twitter gets a reputation of being the biggest hellhole of all.
It can be,
Yeah,
right? It really
yeah,
depends on the day, but damn.
yeah. Twitter was the only one that was attempting to ban the people harassing me.
I don't. So I get it, and like I'm not here to tell you what to do with your account, right?
Hmm.
But here would be my argument why maybe deleting and stop streaming on Twitch might be a bad idea.
Sure.
Let me run it by you. If all the people who are disgusted about by anti-Semitism, and I count myself among them,
Thank you.
just flee,
Appreciate it.
you're welcome. That's for you specifically. Now, if they flee Twitch, all that will remain are the anti-Semites, right? That's all
Yeah.
that will remain. That's all that's going to be there. The fact that we have people like you, right, and other Jewish voices still there is actually a good thing. And I understand that you get untoward levels of hate and harassment. I get that. So it's not something I'm asking you to do, right? But it's something that
Mhm.
I just think bears to be thought of when we make these decisions. Like if everyone who hates anti-Semitism leaves, that place is just going to be worse overall, right?
I would much rather just treat Twitch like a pariah, like the way we treat uh the way we treat the far right winger streaming
Mm,
platforms. Um and naturally a better competitor will just come along.
fair
I know
enough.
maybe it'll be YouTube, maybe it'll be Kick or whatever it is. Um
It's not Kick. I think Kick
yeah.
signed
I
Nick
don't know enough
Fuentes
about it, so
recently. Kick
okay.
heard about Twitch's anti-Semitism. They're like, we can one up this. We can do
Yeah.
better. And I think they got Nick Fuentes on there now, right, doing his thing. Anyway, so it's
At least
not
it's a little
better.
more consistent with their
I mean,
shit,
true.
but
You
yeah.
know what I mean? But
I
damn.
think yeah, it, to me, the way I've seen, like when I think of Twitch now, I think of terrorist propaganda. The number one political streamer on Twitch is a terrorist propagandist, and the stuff that he says could get you in legal trouble in tons of countries, like in Western countries. He literally had a terrorist on stream advocating for it, and he is the favorite streamer of the CEO. So at this point, I just consider Twitch enabling, not just enabling, but facilitating. Like they're just part of the same system. And
Yeah.
I don't even want to say it's just an anti-Semitism thing because it's not. It's basically just pro-terrorist, and it's pro-tanky stuff as well. Um, and it's just I consider it anti-Western, and I
No
like the
doubt.
West.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think it's crazy that it's controversial to say that sometimes. Um, so I just don't want to participate in something that's trying to convince people to hate our society and hate our way of life.
That makes sense. That makes sense. There are people who would say, right, and I've heard them say this, I heard this argument, that we are being conspiratorial, right? And they're in my chat right now. I see a few of them, Remy LeBeau,
Sure.
Omar, etc. That this is all a big conspiracy. We're blowing this out of proportion, right? This isn't really a big deal. What would you say to people like that? How do you convince someone who thinks this is all just kind of overblown or made up?
I would say I used to agree with that guy. I don't blame that person for thinking that. I completely used to agree with them. Uh, I remember reading something about how Russia was behind the Johnny Depp trial, right? It's like that's crazy. Like that's psycho, right? Um, and when around when October 7th happened that week, a bunch of weird things happened. So, the all the Ashkenazi Jews' DNA was hacked into 23andMe, um, and uh, and then on top of that, we now know that Russia was funding and facilitating a bunch of conservative right wing creators that coincidentally just happened to become anti Semites on October 7th. They weren't really. When did you see Lauren Chen talking about Jews before that? Right. Um,
Fair enough.
and there are a bunch of things when you start calculating it all. If you would have told me a few years ago that Russia was funding all of these conservative people and facilitating it under fake names and all of this, I'd be like, that's crazy. But it was proven to be true. And now a lot of this isn't getting much news, but Justin Trudeau, actually, the Prime Minister of Canada, for those who don't know, just testified in just testified for I think in the Supreme Court in Canada, something like that, where where he basically was saying that he actually named a bunch of right wing creators, saying that they were being funded and facilitated by Russia,
Because of the
and
tenant stuff,
and
is
that
that related to the tenant issues? Yeah.
um What do you mean the tenant issues?
So the company that was
Oh, yeah,
paying.
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I thought you were talking about rental stuff, and I was like,
No,
"No,
tenant.
different topic."
Am I pronouncing it
Okay.
wrong? It's possible.
Yeah, he actually he mentioned a few names that I was shocked to see, and he said that he got his information from CSIS, right, which is the CIA in Canada. I like there is a lot of stuff. I really think that you could easily look at it as us being in kind of in World War III already, and Israel is a proxy, like the war in Israel and Hamas and Gaza and all that kind of stuff. It's a proxy war for the United States with Russia. Obviously, there's some intricacies and nuances there as well. But this is why, like, Russia funds and facilitates both far right and far left creators,
Make them
because
fight. Yeah.
the worst thing is a centrist. The worst thing is someone reasonable, because those are the types of people that bring people together under very common values, like diversity and patriotism and all those things. And that's the most dangerous thing for to be against a country that is filled with those types of people.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
so they want to sow that kind of animosity between people. So like
really?
it's not it's not a conspiracy, because it's I understand why you think that that's the case, but it's
Hmm.
these things are connected, and I wouldn't be surprised if, especially when you think about the pro-Russia kind of advocacy and talking points that Hassan has been doing for a very long time. I wouldn't be surprised if that's also connected.
We're gonna go through some of that evidence today, but before we do that,
Sure.
gang, thank you for the super chats. I'll read them out real quick, and I appreciate you guys. $5 from Joe the Mig. Sounds like there's a moral imperative to ditch Twitch. The fact that they haven't seen anything remotely similar to the YouTube ad apocalypse is insane. $2 from Zephyr Hash. Somehow promoting porn to kids wasn't the line. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, but thank you for the $2. $20 from Lawson Harrison. This was a huge misunderstanding, Wick. None of the Israelis followed the member instructions that clearly stated they must be a goyim. Okay. Thank you for the $20. Two more dollars from Zephyr Hash. Boar's Head is greater than Sabra if we're making hummus tier list. Fair. $5 from Testicle Johnson. Wick, will you publicly commit right now to leaving the anti-Semitic platform Twitch in solidarity with your Jewish sister Eris? No, I don't make enough money to give up an income stream, unfortunately. So I make about 400 a month on Twitch, and I can't just not have 400 a month in my account. So thank you. Oh well. Plus, if again, like I said, if all the anti-Semites run away, or the people who aren't anti-Semites run away, then who's going to be left? So I gotta stick it out. If anything, they can ban me if they don't like what I'm saying, and I will wear that as a badge of honor. Then $10 from Per Thompson. Wick TV, Nick is not on Kick. Oh, Nick Fuentes. The story about him being signed was fake. I just tried finding him on Kick. He's not there. Fair enough. If I was wrong, I was wrong. If that was false information, I apologize. But I did see reports that he was. If that's not true, then I take it back. Fair enough. Okay. That being said, I'm going to share my screen here, and hopefully you can see it, and we can go through these. Give me a second. Give me a second. Doo-doo. Yeah, I'll make it bigger so we can read. Okay. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. So this is most of this information is being compiled by Dan Can't Tweet. I invited him on this evening. He said maybe if he's not busy.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah,
So.
we'll see, right? But link to his Twitter account is in the YouTube's description. There is credit being given here, so please follow his stuff. So Dan Can't Tweet made a tweet. He made a few tweets, but I want to start here because I think this is a good place to start. It collates a lot of this evidence together, and we're gonna go through it. We're gonna click on all the links, okay? Dan Can't Tweet says, "I'd like to be clear that Twitch completely lied in their response and likely violated BDS laws in the process." So what BDS stands for is boycott, divestment, sanction, right? There are laws regarding that. I don't know if they apply here, but he is alleging that they do. So he links us to Twitch's initial response.
Was it banned in the United States? Is that what he's referring to? Like BDS is banned in areas of the United States?
So as far as I understand it, and I'm not an expert, please don't quote me on this, but
Mhm.
government cannot refuse to give contracts to Israel just because they're Israeli, right? There are laws governing that. I don't know if it applies the same to private companies.
Okay, I remember there being some kind of advocacy. Like BDS is allowed in most Western countries, but I remember there being some advocacy specifically against it in the United States. And then I wasn't sure if actual laws got passed where they
Yeah,
banned it as
there are
discriminatory.
anti-BDS laws in the States. I'm, again, not a
Okay.
lawyer, not an expert on them, but I don't think they
Just boycotting the
apply.
boycott.
Yeah, I don't think they apply to private entities. I think they apply specifically to the government, and it's only in some states. It's not a federal issue. But I think that like Florida has it. I think California has it, and there's a few others. Can you guys not see me? They're saying F to the stream. Is this not up? Can you guys not see or hear us?
I can see the stream.
Well, are you guys just pressing F to fuck with me? It's mirrored? What does that mean?
Oh, it's because it's flipped.
I
It's
don't.
flipped on your stream.
Oh, give me a second. Let me see if I can fix that. Hold on.
Your audience is smart. Like I think they can flip it in their brains. You know.
I'll read it out loud,
That's fine.
okay, gang? I read it out loud, and then, you can concentrate on my beautiful face, okay? So let's click this link. Boop. And here is the Twitch support response. And to be clear, gang, this is referring to the allegation at the time, which has later been confirmed, that they had blocked Israeli accounts from being able to sign up to Twitch. So let's get into it. Twitch support. We wanted to address concerns we've seen about whether we're preventing Twitch account signups in some regions. When signing up for a Twitch account, you can select an account verification method, email or phone, for added protection. Following the October 7th, 2023 attacks, we temporarily disabled signups with email verification in Israel and Palestine. We did this to prevent uploads of graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. Signups were not disabled, and we continued to see signups from both regions. Users could choose to sign up with phone verification. We've learned that, inadvertently, we did not re-enable email verification signups for
No, that part's such bullshit.
well, don't worry. We'll get into it, right? Don't worry. I want to get the whole thing out, and then we'll talk about it, right? We deeply regret this unacceptable miss and the confusion it has caused. We fixed the issue, meaning all affected users can sign up with email verification. We've also heard concerns about whether our community guidelines apply. I don't know if I can get through this part without cracking a smile. We've also heard concerns about whether our community guidelines apply to all content on our service. We continue to enforce our rules as consistently as possible.
They might be right about that, right? Like they might be right that they are trying as consistently as possible because of the rules that have been given to them and the instructions by the CEO.
Yeah, but
They might
to call that consistent as just in a principle. Anyway, and are actively reviewing content and taking enforcement action where needed. First of all, before we go into the evidence here, what are your initial response to this response, if you will? What's your initial gut reaction
I actually
here?
think this is an unprofessional response. I mean, I expected some public kind of hopsquash, but like this was just I don't even think they got like their PR person to do this. Maybe I like it's not I think there are also some typos on there um yeah, it's just especially this is what I suspect happened, right? Is that October 7th happens for those who don't remember, Hamas was uploading on Facebook and a bunch of social platforms, but primarily I think it was Facebook and Telegram, their murderous rampage. So I can understand like the fear, especially Twitch has had a problem with people live streaming, events. So if like they find that out, it's like, okay, do something quickly. I it's a weirdly massive decision to make like in response to that. To just ban users, especially all users, not once just from their phone because they were uploading it from their phones. It would have been made sense to do that. And then it would have made sense once the day was over to turn it off.
Yeah,
But what
no,
I suspect happened is that they went to turn it off and someone higher up told them not to, because they thought that it solved a bunch of problems by not turning off. It's like, what if we just forgot to turn it
I
off?
can understand them forgetting, right? Sometimes that happens.
Mhm.
Mistakes happen. If if there hadn't been, again, for the past year, people telling them, "Hey, I can't sign up. This is a huge issue. Why is this happening?" And as we will see in the later pieces of evidence, they were emailed, "Hey, sorry, this is just our policy. We don't allow this because of our policy here." They
Mhm.
had to understand that this was still in place. This isn't something that you can just overlook when you have a whole ass country, basically, unable to sign up to your platform. They continually put in tickets and they're continually told, "We looked into it and sorry, that's just our policy." Surely, after a year, at some point, someone would have been like, kicked this up the chain and been like, hey, is this still a thing? Sure, it beggars belief. I can't suspend my disbelief enough to say, hey, no one knew about this for a year. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say they specifically told people to lie about it. I don't know if that's the case. I don't have any evidence that's the case. But yeah, it's just really, really bad. Really, really bad. And also, it won't fix the problem. I think, as I told my audience earlier, them banning, if they wanted to ban content from October 7th, one, the cat was already out of the bag. If they wanted to
Mhm.
avoid future conflict, they would have banned Lebanese. They would have restricted Lebanese people because you had Hezbollah shooting rockets into Israel and Israel shooting rockets right back, right? Since October 8th. It just doesn't pass the smell test to me at all.
Yeah, there's just no way something is done like this for so long. Like this happened for over a year, without it being intentional.
Yeah.
This is not like, three guys running a website in their garage, right? Like this is like a major
Well, it's not my
operation.
stream where I'm trying to flip things horizontal and vertical and getting it
Like
all
I can
mixed up,
imagine,
right?
like I can't even imagine a single streamer being that incompetent for like an entire year. And
I
like
don't
there are
know.
people that you forget to unban,
Like,
but
I've seen some streamers, and I'm counting myself here. Like, there's still problems that I haven't solved. But no, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. There are people get paid like whole ass paychecks, like
yeah.
to do what they're doing. So we've read the initial response. Dan has compiled evidence to show why this is retarded. Excuse my French. We see that as early as May, there was a small ignored effort with the hashtag Batluath Twitch. I don't know how to pronounce that, which aimed to get Twitch to answer why they could not create accounts from Israeli creators. Let's see an example. This is from May 27th. Okay. We are very angry. I recently found out that there is no option to open a Twitch account because they blocked us. Not pretty. They had a bunch of tags, Batluath Twitch. It didn't
They've
get very
since
much
deleted this
traction.
code, so it's
Yeah.
great that this is saved.
Yeah, this is the error that they got. Oops, we encountered an unexpected error. Please try again. The error code 2023 in the description of the error was that a blocked country IP. So these are the IPs of countries that were blocked. So this wasn't just regions in Israel, it was the whole last country. Okay.
That's weird. Because those videos, I was trying to, um, I was trying to like give them an argument, right? Like, there a lot of those videos are being posted. They don't want to deal with the hassle. Just let's do this preliminary, uh, act, and hopefully it'll fix the problem for a few hours or something, and then they forget. but why would this was very focused on one specific region where these videos were coming out of. So, um, I like to ban the entire country and then not to ban the surrounding countries. Weird. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
and to give them some grace here, this isn't the first time they have banned a country. They banned Russia, but that was due to U.S. sanctions, right?
yeah,
They
they had
legally
to,
had to,
right?
right? Um, as far as I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have any U.S. sanctions on Israel that I'm aware of, at least.
No,
Yeah.
they're definitely
So
not.
again, this was a choice that they made, which they said in their response in order to prevent content. As per Thompson for $10, thank you for the $10, says, restricting signups is a really weird way to avoid content being streamed. Why not just disallow streaming from a particular geography? As Eris pointed out, yes, that would be the go-to. Or simply banning anyone who does stream that content. That would be the way to go. I would go about it. $2 from Dylan Browsers. Just wanted to hear you say, "Go Chargers, bolt up." Sports stuff. I don't know. Anyway, so there you go. There's one example.
It's also it's important to note
Please.
when you're looking at these things, it's not happening in a vacuum. Like you've got to look at the context, like any investigator, right? Of where is this happening? Like this isn't some random company that's doing this. This is a company where their largest streamer it like facilitates and propagates anti-Israel and like anti-Semitic content, and they are literally the favorite streamer of the CEO of the company. So it's like,
Hold on. I'm
you're not
getting
yeah,
I'm getting some reports.
let's
I'm
get
gonna
into it, yeah.
check if they're true. Okay.
Okay.
Let me go on another screen so I can check this. Hold on, so I
You
don't.
hearing that Denims and Frogan are banned?
Yes. Is that true? Do you know? Can you confirm? Let me check. Uh, this channel. Oh, here we go.
Oh, damn. Okay, let's bet some money. Are we allowed to bet money? Is that insane? I don't know.
Sure. Why not? Go
Well,
ahead.
it maybe if we include some anti-Semitic content, we'll get
Yeah,
away
like
with
you
it.
just
But
don't really do it, right? Don't
no, I
use,
won't.
but you know what I mean. Like, no,
I
all we have
won't
to
do
do
it,
is
don't
say
worry.
we hate
Okay.
Israel, and then we can go on. And
Let's guess how quickly they get unbanned. So
ooh, are we talking? So I bet I'm gonna bet you it's. I give it a week. I give it a week.
I was gonna guess a week. Okay,
Oh, too late.
fine.
I took it.
Then I'm going to guess 2 weeks.
They heard I was streaming about this
Both of us
today.
don't think it's a permanent. Yeah, Twitch is obviously watching, and they were convinced by our arguments.
True.
Mm.
They're like, you know what? Has to happen. Is Frogan banned too? Can you link me Frogans as well? I just want to see it.
If Denon's is banned, Frogan has to because Frogan said so much worse things
Oh,
than Denon.
Frogan has totally destroyed their toss left and right.
I was friends with Denon too. Very
Oh
weird.
man. Yeah, temporarily unavailable. The temporarily unavailable isn't a permaban, right? That's a suspension,
Okay.
right? Is that
Okay.
correct? I
Yeah.
think so.
So we're right that it's suspended suspensions.
Look in the general and Discord. What kind of craziness are you giving me here? Again, what do I have on Discord? Capri Sun Poppy has been banned too. Damn. Okay. Yeah, they're getting them all. Shit. Okay. Well, I guess our gang, you're hearing this live, bro. I'm hearing this live. Turns out, Twitch has decided to give some slap on the wrists at least.
At least. Let's hope it's
Is
more.
Yeah, is this too little, too late, or is this a step in the right direction? What are your feelings now? I have mixed on this. I'm not sure what to think yet. I'm processing it, but go ahead, aristocracy, give us
Um,
what you got.
I mean, I I guess it's a step in the right direction. It's a relief if they're actually banned. I think that at least Frogan should be banned permanently. Um, and that's obvious. And I also think Hassan should be. So
Mm,
I don't think like until they actually at least give Hassan some kind of slap on the wrist or something. Like I'm
mm,
not gonna think that they're actually taking anything seriously.
Yeah,
But
that's why
mm,
for 5 gift
yeah.
subs. Thank you for the 5 gift subs first of all. Really appreciate you. Yeah,
I
it's
think Brogan is the easiest person for them to go probably use as a
now
scapegoat for the
here's
whole
where we'll
thing.
disagree. I don't think any of these people should be banned, honestly, but we have a different take on free speech. But it is
Mhm.
good that they are. I think it's a step in the right direction that they are being consistent. They recognize that the way that they were taking care of things was not okay, right? That this double standard that they had going on was wrong. So while yes, I don't think Asmongold should have been banned. I don't think they should have been banned. It's good to see that they are holding them to the same standard. Like you said though, uh, if it's a week suspension, does that actually do anything? Does that actually solve the problem?
Yeah, I mean, that's nothing. How long did Gold get suspended for?
14 days, right, gang? Am I incorrect here? 14 days?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly. I don't know the whole thing of what he said. I
Mm.
just heard that he thought Palestinians should be genocided or something like that, which is
That's
obviously
not exactly
horrible.
what he said, right? That's what they're portraying it as, but yeah,
Okay.
they have been something has been said. Um, I think that at the end of the day, if someone, I'm actually glad Frogren has been saying what she's saying because I think it's the easiest thing in the world to use as an example of why these people are dog shit, right? And people don't believe you at first. When you say, hey, there's a real big anti-Semitism problem here. These people are very anti-Semitic. The people who have these thoughts and beliefs are super, they hate Jews, right? And no one believes you at first. But then you can point to people like Frogan, right? People like Denims. Like Denims showed Al Jazeera, right? Or not Al Jazeera, I'm sorry. She said some crazy shit. She's cheered on Hamas, right? Um, yeah, these people are insanely anti-Semitic, and I'm glad that they let their masks slip. I'm glad that they felt comfortable enough to say this, so that I know not to get in bed with these snakes. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, what I don't understand, right, is
I guess they
what
perma
I don't un
sneako too. We're
Oh,
they're just
really?
banning everyone now. There's going to be a
That's
slew
interesting.
of these that
I
are just
mean,
going to get
that makes me really happy if this is like a pattern of
yeah.
them actually starting to clamp down on something.
Yeah, and
Um,
don't stop reporting on this, gang. Just as they
yeah,
come, as you find them, give them to us. I want to know. But
yeah.
go ahead, please.
Actually, I saw that Frogan's removed all her. I don't know if she did removed all her videos on YouTube, as well. So I don't know if that. I'm guessing it's somewhat connected. Um, but someone like Frogan is more, I guess, open, and she doesn't seem intelligent either. I think that there are other people that are more intelligent in how they can portray their views, that they can kind of let things slide a little more. So I guess in a way I agree with you. Like I'm kind of grateful that she's so obvious. Um, but uh, it was also really hard to watch um how much this stuff was, like, enabled and allowed, and that they could just
A
that
whole
she could just get away
culture,
with saying.
yeah, a whole culture grew up around this, right? This isn't gonna be. Hold on, let me get
That's why
right.
I don't I genuinely I think if you put all those people in a room, which, I mean, they were in a room when they made that stupid tier
Yeah,
list, they only hang out with one another, and the stuff is enabled within their groups of friends. They usually have 1 or 2, Jewish tokens, and for some reason, someone like Trump is not allowed to say, "Oh, I have a black friend," and get away with racism, but they're allowed to say, "I have a Jewish friend," and uh, and so they're very convinced they're not anti-Semitic, right? They're very convinced because they're not educated on anti-Semitism. Um, and they think, oh, I just hate Zionists, and then they don't realize how much they like push these attitudes, but you're actually being an anti-Semite, you're just a new breed of anti-Semite. Um,
The
and
language has
it's very
changed, but the
frustrating to
meanings
watch.
is pretty goddamn similar, right? It leads to the
Mhm.
same result.
Oh, we thirst the Zionists, they thirst for the blood. Like,
Insane.
that's hilarious
No, it
that
is
you
pretty
can't see the
insane.
similarities.
Um, it's really, again, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see if is this a 3-day suspension, is this a 14-day suspension? I don't know. Again, from the language that they used, it leads me to suggest they use temporarily, right? So that means it is temporary. It's not a permaban.
Mhm.
Um, so we'll see. We'll see what they do going forward. I will give them credit for this first step, though. Like, one of the things that we got to do with these things, right? One of the things that we got to do is when people start to take steps in a better direction, we have to let them. Look, if it was me, I would be like, okay, we're going to unban these people. Let's unban Destiny. Because Destiny's still been banned, right? They unbanned Sneeko before they unbanned Destiny. They unbanned Fresh
Mhm.
and Fit before they unbanned Destiny. And I would just like, no, let them free.
They
Let the
really
prisoners
hate
free.
him.
They do.
Yeah.
And I think that this is indicative. What's the word you used earlier? Unprofessional? That's what it is. It's an unprofessional stance and standard to have. And while they are allowed to have that standard, we're allowed to criticize it. Okay, so you talked about banning. Are we still wanting them to resign at this point?
Um, yeah. Yeah, I
Okay,
would say so.
fair enough.
Holding holding a high standard. Um, I'm so concerned about Twitch being used as a propagandist tool uh um like anti-Western and like pro-Russia, pro-China type of
Oh,
stuff. And it makes sense when that stuff happens on a platform like TikTok that's owned by China, but like, why would you let this happen on a place like Twitch? And it just like the sheer misinformation that gets spread. That's why like I hope if anything, this kind of starts making if there's a silver lining, people start being a little more critical about and taking Twitch seriously as a news source, not as a way of saying, oh, it's great news, but like these look at the reach that this platform has. Like we need to start actually being concerned about it, especially with the amount of young people
I'm
that watch
blocked
it.
by Frogan, so I can't read that. Um, yeah, and
Do you
I'm
want
unable to view the account. I'm sorry, buddy. But this guy's saying 30-day ban.
Yeah, she got 30-day ban for saying people like bottom of the barrel hummus. But other people get 2 weeks for advocating for genocide. Okay. She did
She
advocate for
did.
genocide
She did
against
get more than Asmongold. Gotta give credit to Twitch where it's due. She did get more than Asmongold did.
Yeah.
Her comments were worse, and she got worse. So I mean, credit where it's due, right?
Yeah, I don't know the details of Asmongold's comments. I have no clue.
Fair enough. Asmongold basically said he didn't care. He didn't say it was good. He didn't say it was bad. He said he didn't care that this was happening and that some cultures are better than others. That's the TLDR of it. I'd encourage you to just go watch the clip. It's like a minute long. But it was
Oh, okay.
much less. It was still bad. It was still callous and gross, but it
Yeah.
wasn't targeted like hers was. Does that make sense?
Mhm. She just has, like, a way that she speaks about Jews and Zionists and stuff that's just, like she just so obviously hates us.
She didn't even know
That
what a
is just
Druze was.
yeah.
That was
That's why and she has, like, the
it's
chutzpah to say that she knows more about hummus than Israeli Jews,
Man, look,
which I
I'm not an
found
expert on
hilarious.
the Druze. Like, if you ask me, like, their belief system, I couldn't tell you, right? I know who they are, and I know a lot of them live
She
in
doesn't like Druze because they don't
Lebanon.
fit into her
Yeah,
worldview,
yeah.
because, yeah. Druze the thing about Druze, right, is that they tend to be very loyal to whatever country they're in. Um, and that doesn't connect her. So for example, a Druze person in Syria is going to be very pro Syria. Like just I mean, on average, the culture is going to be pro-Syria. I don't wanna make intense generalizations about
Sure,
individuals,
sure.
right? But the same thing goes for an Israeli Druze. They're gonna be quite pro-Israel. They actually serve in the military. Um, a huge commander, Israeli commander just got killed, and he was, in, I think, Lebanon, and he was a Druze. So
Yeah. Um, well, it's one of those things. Do you think that they learn, like, so from Frogan's comments as it's being reported to me, because again, I can't look at it. I'm blocked, gang.
I'm
Um,
not blocked, so I could
yeah,
see
I
that.
know that's crazy. But whatever. Look, I'll wear that as a fucking badge of honor.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm kinda jealous.
Yeah. Um. So what's being reported that she's saying is she's complaining about it, like, oh my god, this guy made such a worse comment than I did, and nothing's happening to him, and I'm getting way worse. I don't know if they learn the right lessons from this. I don't know if they learn the correct lesson. I think what they do, what this happens now, Paint Baby, thank you. It becomes a grudge match, and this starts like this continues this feud, this tit for tat shit. Um, it's going to be a power struggle, I think, amongst the trust and safety team, amongst
Mhm.
the bigwigs at Twitch, whoever's making these decisions, and I think it's going to be an
I agree.
ideological power struggle because again, the evidence is still clear that Twitch, when left to its own devices, and we don't make a big stink about it, tends towards anti-Semitism.
Isn't that so upsetting? It makes me so mad that you have to make a big fuss publicly for something that is so obviously wrong, like, on so many levels
Yeah, it's
to
just
get for
this is
something to be
like
get done.
basic, the ice cold take, right? You would like these people are fucking adults. They're not 14-year-olds. Like if these were 14-year-olds being edgy, okay, yeah, I get it, right? You're upset at mom and dad and you want to say the edgy shit
Mhm.
to be cool. But what is Frogan like 25, 27, something like that? Well, how old is she, gang? Oh, Vio got clapped too? Damn, how much she get? Are they all getting 30 days? Do we know how much Denims is getting?
The thing is, what was particularly anti-Semitic wasn't just the Sabra thing, it was the
Yes.
context of when they held up Ethan's face that they had printed out. Like, it was like some, like, weird lynching. It was horrible. I couldn't believe that happened with, like, all these companies right behind sponsoring it.
Yeah. Sorry,
Quick.
sorry, Per Thompson. $20 from Per Thompson. I'm sorry it sounds like a copycat now, right? I'm just trying not to interrupt the flow of the conversation too much. But $20 for Per Thompson that says it's bad that this is only happening now. We have to go to Herculean efforts to get Twitch to follow their own toss. I'm happy it was done, but it sucks that we have to go through this BS to get them to do their damn job. And $2 from Mr. Wise Guy Plays to say they should unban Destiny after the election. LOL. Um, does it again, I don't know if this gets better. I hope it does. But pessimistic Wick thinks this is something that Twitch will point to and say, no, look, we did something this one time, right? You can't really complain at us now. We did something. I don't see this, and I hope to God I'm wrong, bringing a lasting cultural change in Twitch. I just don't.
Well, what it might do is one of the things I don't know,
Mm.
do you talk to boomers a lot?
Oh,
Right?
do I
Or
talk to boomers a
the
lot?
polite term
Yeah. I
for
talk to boomers a
someone
lot, okay.
is over 55 or something. I don't
Yeah,
really
yeah.
know if that's the official, but um they have a ton of power, a ton of money, um a ton of a lot of things, right? They grew up in a very different world than we did, and they are blissfully unaware of this entire world that we are in here. Um, and uh, even I've been, and it's something I always knew. Oh, of course, the parents don't realize what we're doing, like what's going on in the basement. But this isn't the basement anymore. Like, this is now like the mainstream news for young people under 40, not just teenagers,
Yeah,
right?
again,
So,
like whole ass, like, Newsweek did an article
Yeah,
on
this is a
this, right?
big deal. And so I think that this stories like this will get people like boomers all and that kind of those types of people to actually pay attention to what their children are watching on Twitch and what their children are seeing on TikTok. Or I guess their grandkids now, I don't really know. But I think that there is this weird disconnect where those people do not realize what's really going on these platforms. And um and there's no one that's kind of like communicating between these two sides, like, hey, like this is really what's going on. You have these rare instances when like Facebook testifies or something like that, but it's in general there needs to be way more uh education to older people on what's going on these platforms, because I think if they saw it they would be really horrified if they really knew. And I like, so now that there's been some more mainstream news articles about this, I'm hoping that it puts more of a um what's the word I'm looking for, but
Pressure?
like a lens,
Oh, lens. Okay,
like,
sure.
you know, like a lens or a focus on platforms like Twitch and what they're actually
A
doing, rather
spotlight.
than just
Thank
treating
you.
this,
Yeah,
yeah,
a spotlight.
spotlight, yeah, rather than just treating this area like the Wild West.
It's one of those things where, oh man, um, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I don't
Mhm.
know if that's gonna fix it. I think that you're right, though, that the overall idea that a lot of people who aren't in this space don't quite understand how bad this space is. And even people who are just on the edges. I'm sure if you're just like a game streamer, you don't talk
Mhm.
politics, you don't really know much about the politics, like you know who Hassan is just because he's so big, but you just play fucking Fortnite, right? To a few hundred viewers. Um, you don't see or experience any of this. You don't get it. But as soon as you start dipping your toes in the Twitch, specifically the Twitch kind of political morass, you understand how it is basically a huge club with its own culture and a very, very toxic culture that, as we've seen, and as we've seen for the last year, and I've been more than that, but it's something that came to light to me over the last year that I've been screaming about, and people have called me crazy, right? That no, these people are anti-Semitic. Like they just hate Jews. It's not that deep. Um, I think that once you kind of become aware of that, you can't unsee it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I want to be clear. Like, I think someone mentioned in the chat that anti-Zionism isn't anti-Semitism. It's like what you really mean by that. What I hope you mean is that criticism of Israel, not anti-Semitic, right? And I think like Wick and I would both agree with that, like completely.
Yeah.
Um, but it's pretty obvious um, uh, when someone is advocating for the removal of 90%, sorry, for the removal of almost half of the world's Jews from a region, right? And that country has been a safe haven. And if that country gets destroyed, it will literally enable the environment to re-Holocaust Jews, right? Like, at that point, if you're advocating for the destruction, okay, to the level that any mention of any Zionist or anyone who doesn't believe in the destruction of that country is someone that you are okay with killing, right?
Yes.
It's like it,
And
you're
remember,
an anti-Semite.
yeah, remember, um, Ethan Klein is, as far as I understand, super pro Palestine. He
Extremely.
extremely pro Palestine. Um, his sin wasn't to be supportive of genocide. No, he was very anti what Israel's been doing for not just since October 7th, but for years. His sin was, again, he wasn't comfortable with them wanting to eliminate the Israeli state and depopulate the region of all the Jews who were born there. That was his sin. He is not, by any definition, a Zionist. But the fact, and this gives the lie, right? This gives the lie to the Denims, the Frogans, the Hassans. All these people are saying, we're not anti-Semites, we're just anti-Zionists. Because how they define Zionism is believing Jews should be alive.
Live. Yeah.
That's it. If you think
Exactly.
Jews should be alive, you're a Zionist. In Israel, you're a Zionist to them. If you think
And
Israel
this
should
is
exist, right?
and Zionist has always been another word for Jew. It always has been. And if it describes 90% of Jews, right? Um, then you can be like very critical of Israel and not engage in anti-Semitism. Yet I find like that, especially these people, they don't know how to do it. Because they're not engaging in because they're not being accidentally anti-Semitic, because they're being critical of Israel. It's the
Mm.
other way around. They're being critical of Israel because they're anti-Semites. And that's why they are not consistent with their views with other countries. It's why that they only have criticisms, and they only put all their advocacy, right, into the one country in the Middle East where Arabs, Jews, and all lots of different groups all exist in relative peace, right, under the same rights. There's no other country in the Middle East that exists like that. I'm not saying Israel's perfect, right? But it's
Mm.
weird when
Yeah.
the amount of advocacy
No, don't
that
don't
is
call it
put
weird. Call it what
towards
it
it.
is. Call it what it is. It's straight up racist and anti-Semitic, right? Because again, I got people in my chat right now, right, saying, "Oh, this is the stupidest take I've ever heard." What's this guy saying? There was some amazing mental gymnastics to get back to the original position of criticism of Israel as anti-Semitic. Is that what you got from what she said? She specifically said you can criticize Israel. I criticize Israel. She criticizes Israel. Ethan Klein's criticized Israel. Again, right? What are we talking about here? No one, not me, not Eris, not Ethan Klein, no one would say that criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. It's certain types of criticisms of Israel that are anti-Semitic, such as, I don't want Israel to exist anymore. Where should those Jews go? What was that one tweeter said? To hell. Yes, you're an anti-Semite if you think that. If you're cheering on Hamas, you're an anti-Semite. I don't care. If you are calling Hamas and Hezbollah resistance, you're an anti-Semite. You just are. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just mad, right?
No.
Like if
No,
you
it's
were
fine.
if you were making a mural to Sinwar, okay, about how based he was and how heroic it was that he died like he did, you're an anti-Semite. You
That's the
are.
thing. I live in Toronto, and we have had Toronto has basically been the beacon of anti-Semitism in North America, for the past year. So I've witnessed this stuff right outside my door. Like, this isn't just the internet world for me. It's like literally on my streets. I see signs every day of things advocating for my genocide, stuff like that, in a country that has hate speech laws. Um, and yesterday I was just exiting the subway, and as I got out, there was this massive crowd, right, with pro Sinwar, pro Hamas signs, and super pro Palestine. And then I saw some just normal people there. They seemed somewhat normal, right? Like they didn't have any signs being pro Hamas. They just had normal, Palestinian children are dying, like, like that kind of thing. Like, where I was like, okay, so you're here because you have criticisms for how Israel has conducted this war. And I think that's super valid, right? I think
Oh yeah, like I have
that's
criticisms of
that's
how Israel's
that's
conducted
fine,
this war. It's a problem,
right?
right? But go ahead.
That's fine. But ask yourself this question, and it's something that I ask myself about a ton of things, right? Why have you been to other anti-war rallies, right? Why do you happen to go to this one? Right? Why do you happen to go to the one with that is a group of people that just had the largest massacre of them since the Holocaust, which is it has no words to describe what happened to it. That is afraid for their own survival, right? That literally have been kicked out of every country surrounding them. And were genocided so badly that they still haven't recovered their population. But now you're participating in, but you're only willing to criticize how they conduct their wars, right? Like I would just ask those people, like, just be a little critical of yourself, of why you engage with that. We all have motivated reasoning. It's a human quality. We're all tribalistic. Um, but it's something that, but at least, like, I mean, I always try to look at myself and be critical of myself. Like, why
Yeah.
I have an instinct to, like, obviously I'm going to care more about this thing because they're Jewish and it connects to me and my culture, or I'm going to care about this person because they're Canadian, right? But,
Mm.
like, be a little more critical about, whether that makes sense or not.
Yeah.
And that's what I wish critics of Israel would do.
However, we have this critic of Israel in our chat right now, Boosted Avian,
Sure.
tags me. The problem is you want to say Sinwar is bad, but you seem to miss the fact that people said the same thing about MLK during his time.
Okay.
Boosted Avian, are you being? Am I getting trolled? No,
He's just trying to,
I might be getting trolled
MLK
here.
was a Zionist, so.
Am I getting trolled? Am I getting trolled here? Like, is this a real
Yeah.
take that you have, sir?
You know what? Maybe, so, well, Israelis have now been unbanned, so maybe an Israeli is trolling you. Because I can tell
Maybe,
you,
right? Like, maybe it's
yeah.
like it's gotta be. It's gotta. Ain't no way. The butcher of Khan Yunis, the person who killed, like, he would kill Palestinians who collaborated with Israel. If you care about the lives of Palestinians, you should be cheering on Sinwar being gone.
Yeah,
Sinwar
those
killed
people want
so
Palestinians to
many.
get killed if they want Palestinians to get killed if they do any kind of collaboration, or there's an Arabic word for normalization, which is what they use. And it's basically, that's why they call Israel the Zionist entity, because calling it Israel is normalization, and that's a big sin in that world. So, um, people get killed, literally just for that. And I think just before Sinwar himself got killed, he had literally orchestrated an honor killing of someone in his own family. So these
It's
people are
insane.
not, like, he just advocated for himself, and he was willing to let Palestinians die as much as he wanted for his own little ideology.
Yeah, like I can't believe I don't believe it's serious. I think, look, it's a good troll, Boosted Avian. It's 10 out of 10. You got me. I thought it was serious at first, but I think you jumped the shark with this one, comparing Sinwar to Martin Luther King Jr. I can't. I just don't believe you're being serious anymore. I just don't. I think you're out. You're out to lunch, okay? You're taking us for a ride, okay? You're taking us for a ride. Now, I am getting reports that Hassan is going to get a token ban after his stream ends. I don't know if that's true.
No way.
I doubt that. I think that's a troll as well. But who knows? Like, I think that the signs are that they
If
they
that
Twitch
happens,
at
I will eat my words.
You'll eat your words. No, let's put some money on this, okay? A
Okay.
tier 3 Wix sub if it happens, and if it doesn't,
Tier 3, I can't wait.
yeah,
Okay.
tier 3.
I'll give you 10 Canadian dollars. Okay.
You know what? Don't do it on Twitch. Do it on YouTube. Give me
Yeah.
a $10 super chat, Canadian, and if he doesn't catch a
He
ban,
does.
I'll next time you're live or streaming, I'll throw you some cash. How's that?
Will I get 10 American dollars?
No, you'll get whatever the equivalent is. Okay, we'll do
Okay.
that.
God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would be, if they actually did something about if they actually did something about Hassan, that means that the CEO actually had basically his investors, or there was some kind of board meeting or something like that. I don't know. Like, someone went above his
Well,
head.
ADL met with them
Um,
today. Do you know that?
no.
The Anti-Defamation League met
Yeah,
with
I did not know that
had
they
a
met
meeting with
with him.
Twitch. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or today.
That's great. I did not know that they even met with them.
Yeah, they absolutely had a meeting about all of this. It had been brought to their attention by a lot of people, right? And they reportedly had a sit down. So I think that that's probably one of the reasons that they're taking this seriously. Like, if the ADL is coming up to you and saying, "Yo, hey, maybe take it down a notch," um, I think that that was pretty much part and parcel of why. If I had to guess, that's why they're taking some action. That's probably why they're taking some action. And I absolutely do believe that if you're going to be handing out wrist slaps to kind of show you're doing something, and you don't to Hassan, it people take you less seriously. So
Yeah,
you
it's just
gotta
gonna
you
be
gotta get
somewhat
the whole
meaningless.
group, right? And again, to be clear, gang, I don't think that's the right move. I don't think it solves the problem. But if you're gonna, then fair enough, right?
Gotta
Zero
be.
Fuck says, I think my Frogan Fuentes meme convinced Twitch. You want to see his Frogan Fuentes meme? It's actually pretty good. Give me a second.
Is that really her face? Or
That
did
the
someone, like, edit that?
IDF killed their own people on October 7th. Let's just start with the obvious. So much has been made of October 7th. They call it the worst day for the Jews since the Holocaust.
That's a good meme. Okay. That's a pretty good
That
meme.
is a good meme.
Good meme.
Is her face, like, edited there? Like, did they, like, stretch it out or do something?
Zero Fox, you're in chat. Did you edit the face? Or is that her real face? It looks edited. Because
Okay.
yeah, I think it's edited because it's too.
Oh, yeah, because the head's, like, way bigger.
It's too
Yeah, but
circular, right? Yeah. Zero Fox says, "Eris, I did roundify it."
Okay,
Yeah, no, it makes
that's a
sense.
good meme.
Ariane A for $10. Oh, and thank you for the membership on YouTube, Zero Fox. I appreciate you. $10 from Ariane A. Cap. I also live in Toronto. I see Israel hostage return posters all around from New York to Scarborough. There are some cringe university students propping up Hamas, but don't exaggerate.
I mean, it depends on the neighborhood you live in, right? Like, I live downtown, so, and I walk everywhere in this city downtown, and I see that shit all the time. So,
Fair enough.
there have been groups in the past 2 months that have been trying to take them down or spray paint them. So there was for a while there was this bench where there's a nice little Jewish star on it, and I equals heart, and I thought that was so sweet. I was like, wow, that's so rare in Toronto to see something like that. But then someone wrote over it, "Free Palestine." So
I
definitely
don't
not
I
anti-Semitic,
don't
just racism of this.
mind Free Palestine graffiti, right? Okay. But
Yeah, but
it's
not over a Jewish star.
yeah, like if you're doing that on the Holocaust Memorial Museum, right, then we got an issue.
Outside of a synagogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you wanted to like spray paint the side of like a Waffle House or something, I don't care, right?
The deep irony of all of this, right, is a ton of people I saw in chat were saying, "Oh, like Israel's not the victim in this." It's like, say you're completely correct, right? For the sake of argument, and Israel is this perpetuator of all these evil, terrible things, right? It doesn't matter. Like, the Jews should not be treated badly because of the actions of Israel. Even if they themselves believe in Israel existing, that doesn't mean they agree with the actions of what Israel is doing. That doesn't mean they know fully what Israel is doing. So for them, they just don't want to get genocided. So, and so regardless, Jews should not be experiencing tons of anti-Semitism across the fucking world in places like Canada and the United States and the UK. Um, that's crazy. Like, for a foreign conflict, that's just bigotry. So typical. And then on top of that, all of that bigotry, all it does is just make Israel ironically stronger, right? Because more Jews become. I've never seen so many lefty Jews in my life become Zionists as I did in the past year. And so many people have become more right wing, have become more hard-lined, have stopped advocating for Gazans, have stopped advocating for Palestinians, or because they just feel like their own survival is, and you become a lot less charitable when you're worried about your own survival. So all this anti-Semitism does the exact opposite. It just makes the situation for Palestinians far worse, and all it does is it's gonna just make Jews far more pro-Israel and want to move to Israel, because it just confirms everything that, Netanyahu has been telling us.
yeah, it's almost worse than that too, because this has become such a. Let me see if I can find the tweet. Hold on, I don't. This is a problem because I don't trust my feed. Like every once in a while, it'll put up something that's not Twitch appropriate. There was a gentleman who's been on my stream a few times. Lebanese, I believe. Basically, because of all this, has gotten even more radical. He made a statement today, which I found gross, that Palestinians and Lebanese who live in Israel are dogs. He's so anti-Israel that he thinks Palestinians, not Jews, Palestinians who live in Israel because they don't want to get, like, I don't know, bombed, right? That they're dogs. He called them dogs with fleas.
Well,
That is
Arab
gross.
Israelis, who he's discussing,
Yeah.
they literally have more rights in Israel than they do in Palestine. So, but they consider that selling out. And it's crazy because when you look at October 7th, when you actually look at the day, there were a ton of Arabs that saved Jews. And they ended up having their lives taken by Hamas as a consequence because that was saving a Jewish baby, saving a Jewish child was seen as being a traitor to the cause. And it's something that, and this is something that really gets to me because I feel like when there's any criticism about stuff that goes on Twitch, the pro-terrorist propaganda, all that, it gets called Islamophobic. The number one victim of terrorism are Muslims, right? Like in the
Arabs,
entire world. They're Muslims, and they're Arabs, and terrorism has destroyed the Middle East. So that's being anti-terrorist is being pro the Islamic world and pro the Muslim and pro the Middle East. Like I don't understand why, and the fact that people associate that together is their own weird bigotry of low expectations.
When Sinwar died, the New York Times did a report, and in their report, they were asking Palestinians who lived in Palestine, like, their thoughts. Obviously, they didn't publish their full name because of security reasons, right? But you had people saying things like, "This is the best day of my life. This man embarrassed us. He humiliated us. He caused this. He started this war, and now we're paying the price. Screw him," right? In different terms, right? So they published that. And them just telling Americans, like a Palestinian in Palestine, telling an American, "Hey, we're like you. We want peace. We don't want this war." You had thousands of little red triangles on Twitter, the whitest Western, right? The whitest Western pro-Palestine people you've ever fucking seen saying, "Nice try, Shlomo. Nice try, you Jew," right? It's crazy that the amount of speaking over that happens, right? Of the Western pro-Palestine movement, right? The whitest people you know, hijacking the conversation. It is one of the biggest problems Palestine has is that for people like Frogan and Hassan are their biggest advocates.
Yeah.
That is a problem. You got people like Hassan and Frogan as your biggest advocates. That needs to change. If I don't know how, because again, if you speak up, you get killed over there, and it's really hard.
That's the problem.
But go ahead.
Any reasonable voices within that world, they literally get silenced extremely. Like the amount of harassment that they experience. There's actually a chapter in Hillary Clinton's book. She wrote a book called Hard Choices. Before she ran for president, which was about her time as Secretary of State. And there was this one chapter that I was told to read because it involved Israel Palestine, where she had to go negotiate a Gaza ceasefire, um, and she had to actually negotiate it at the time. She had to be in the same room with Mahmoud Abbas from from Fatah. And in order for him to agree to terms that he actually did want to agree to, right? The Pentagon and like a bunch of American, I don't know the intricacies of it. I don't remember the details, but
Sure,
they
sure.
had to basically go make sure that his son, who was in boarding school, was safe because they were worried that he was going to be targeted or kidnapped by a very pro-Islamist group. Or there's so many forces that even someone like Mahmoud Abbas, who I still do not like,
Sure.
but and who is literally the definition of being pro-Palestinian, he's just also very corrupt and all these things. Like there's such intense purity testing in that world that even he is not extreme enough for them.
Yeah, if you get put on the Love Sabra list in Palestine, you're gonna get your head chopped off, right? It's like not they're not gonna make a meme about you. They're going to literally kill you. That was Sinwar's job, by the way. He was like the Gestapo for
Mehdi Hassan was basically canceled, like in the Muslim and the Arab world, after October 7th, because I don't know if you know who Mehdi Hassan is, but he's
I'm aware
a huge
who he is.
pro.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay, he's a huge pro-Palestinian advocate. But he was getting canceled in that world because he said that the actions of Hamas, particularly with the rapes, were wrong. Right? And like that's any time you don't roll with the entire narrative, even if it's 90%, you're not going to be good enough.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a real problem, and I don't know how to fix it. Here, let me see if Dan is gonna come on or not. Give me 1 second. Hope he does, but we'll see, right? Yeah, I'm off screen. And we'll see. We'll go for another 10, 15 minutes. My dog's bothering me, so it won't be that long. If he comes on, we'll keep going, right? But if not, we'll
What kind of dog do you have?
Lola is a rescue that I got earlier this year. She is part poodle, part something else. I'm not sure. But she's beautiful. Let's see if I can get her to come over. Here, start saying some start playing some Frogan clips. She'll hear the dog whistles and she'll come running. Okay. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find her. Lola. Lola. Oh, she's just staring at me from the doorway. I think she wants a walk. But okay. So here's the state of play. If you're just tuning in, okay. Frogan, 30-day ban. Denims, ban. I'm not sure how long. It's reported that once Hamas stops streaming, or not Hamas, once Hassan stops streaming, he will also get a slap on the wristband, but that's unconfirmed. Fresh and Fit, banned. Sneeko, banned. Capri Sun Poppy, banned. Twitch is actually doing something about this. One's in chat if you think it's enough, or two's in chat if you think it's still not convincing. You think that Twitch is still a cesspool. One's if you think that they're doing the right thing here and a good start. Two, if you think it's just not enough. Let's see what you guys have to say. Seen a lot of twos.
Yeah, everyone vote two. Two.
There's one. There's a single one in twos from Cowboy, from Whiteus, from Frozen Knight, from Toby, from Per Thompson, for Tinker Dingle, a 1.75 for Solemn Argus. Are you incapable of following directions? Okay, what is this? 1.75 shit. A 2 from Matt Honeybee, 2 from Cameraman, 2 from Dylan Bazer, 3 from Echo Chamber. What is your IP? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. 2 unless Hassan. Okay. Do you think short of retirement, right? Short of resigning, what policy positions do you think that Twitch, if any, should start coming out? Is this a situation where they simply enforce what they got on the books already, or is this something where you think that they need to specifically craft better toss or different toss in order to deal with? What are your thoughts, Eris? Go ahead.
I think they need to include Zionist and advocating for violence against Zionists and all that kind of stuff as being against their TOS. I think that needs to be explicit. People need to stop being able to say, "Oh, I'm just saying Zionists, not Jews." I use that as an excuse. I also think the CEO, if he's not going to resign, I think he needs to do a proper apology, literally on video or something like that. Um, uh, and show the steps that he's going to take to make these changes. But I have full confidence that's not going to happen.
The Zionism, the Zionist thing. Uh, is it currently okay to advocate for violence against Zionists on Twitch?
I think so, because
Oh.
I literally all
Like
the
according to their not
people who
according
do
to
it.
their enforcement, right? Like
Okay.
because we know they've not been holding themselves to their same standard. But like in the toss, is that something that's not?
I guess like it would only be. I think they probably say you're not supposed to advocate for violence, right?
Yeah, that would be
Um,
the thing. No, I
but
agree.
I don't think Zionists are considered a protected group the way, um, like gays would be or
But
trans
you
people
think they
would be or
should be, to be clear.
Yeah, the word,
The
the
word.
word, because because it refers to 90% of Jews, regardless of their politics.
I'd have to think about that one more. My gut instinct is like, well, no, because that gets into some. I think that might be an overcorrection for a lot of reasons. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
But
Okay.
you believe in free speech. I mean, like
Yeah, it's
that's the
true. Like,
so like I think with your if you own the platform and you made it according to your own rules, I wouldn't really have a problem with all these things. All I want is I just want Jews to be treated consistently with the other minority groups.
like a
That's
person.
all I add.
Yes.
Is I don't want
Yeah.
to be treated better or worse.
Yes. It's always been crazy to me that I can insultingly call someone an incel, ban. Insultingly call someone the C slur cracker, ban. Insultingly call someone a Zionist, so all good. All gravy, baby. Hell, insultingly calling someone a Jew, you're probably good and okay. Okay? Like, that's crazy.
Not just Jew, but pig dog. This is something that I don't
Mm.
people just forgot that Hassan Piker did. His community regular a pig dog is a very, very common Islamic slur against Jews, right? For anyone who's Mizrahi in the chat, like it is very common in that world as an insult because pigs and dogs are very hated within Islamic culture, and they
I mean, you're right on all counts, but
yeah,
go ahead. Yeah.
all this. But so pig dog is an anti-Semitic slur, and calling a Jew a pig dog is like calling a Jew the K slur. But you can't use the K slur because at least in the West we're much more normalized with the term. I'm assuming someone would get in trouble for that. But Hassan Piker, the largest streamer, called a Jewish person a pig dog a few times, and his community, I think the term pig dog is like hundreds, thousands of times. And I mean, no one bans it or anything like that. So I think that also needs to be dealt with.
To be clear, I don't remember this. I'm not saying you're lying or anything. I'm not familiar with it. But if that's
You just
true,
look up pig dog
yeah,
Hassan
if
Piker.
that's true, that's just more evidence to the thesis statement that Twitch is a den of anti-Semites. I stand
Yeah.
by that. I think my mind could be changed, right? My mind could be changed here. If they keep taking and normalizing treating the Jewish people how they treat every single other group on Twitch, then I will happily recant. I will happily say, nope, I was wrong. I hope I am able to say that, but it doesn't. I'm not holding my breath, gang. I'm not holding my breath. Is there anything from the audience? Anything you'd like to ask Eris while she's here? Anything that you want to ask me while I'm live? We got some interesting shows coming up this week. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking to someone who slipped me $100 to talk about hallucinogens. So we're going to talk about hallucinogens tomorrow. We'll have Collins.
I did a hallucinogen for the first time a few months ago.
Really? What were your
Yeah.
what? Do you mind
No,
telling
sure,
us
yeah.
about it a little bit? I'm curious.
It was honestly I understand. I'm an atheist. But I understand now why people call it a spiritual experience. Um because I found that it connected me to parts of my brain I had turned off for various reasons. Um, and I felt like I dealt with a lot of shit that I'd locked away, and I confronted it that day. And it was actually
Cool.
felt very healing. And I was kind of surprised because I thought it was just going to be like this wacky, funny experience, and it ended up being like this like emotional thing that I really am happy I did. So yeah, so it was a good experience, but I'm not advocating for people to do it or
Fair
anything like
enough.
that. But
$5 from Turtle Emergency. Nothing to add, but good show. Thank you. Why does Twitch TV hate me? Says, you barely did the thing you were supposed to be doing. I think you guys need to be. Sorry, we got sidetracked. Okay, and sorry, the fact that they basically decided to hand out all the bans while we were live sidetracked me. Okay, it made it a
you were
little.
obviously watching the stream way.
Yeah, right.
So.
But we might do a part 2 at some point. We'll see. You're always welcome back, Eris. Anything you want to
Thank you.
tell the audience? Anything you'd like to say before we have to go?
No, honestly, I'm just like, I think it's just cool to, I think anyone who listens to you and participates in your content and stuff is probably someone that I think is awesome. Even if
Get you.
we disagree on plenty of things, it's
Yeah.
like there is a, I don't know. I like your community. I always
Well,
have.
thank
So
you. I do appreciate it. Eris, you're always welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I know
thanks.
you're busy. You got a lot of stuff going on. So I appreciate you taking the time. Gang, if you want to find her, she's on Twitter. You can check her out at Aristocracy.
Yeah, I tweet all the time,
Yeah. And
and
I'm sure you have
SGW there.
links to your YouTube channel and stuff. I tagged you in my my YouTube description. If people want to check that out there, you can just click on her name and you'll be taken to that. Gang, we will be following closely up with Twitch to see if they stand by their guns on this. If there's actually changes that come across. Oh, the ADL made a statement on this? Well, let's read that real quick. So, yes, ADL spoke with the Twitch staff today after becoming aware of several concerning incidents on the social media platform and or involving Twitch streamers in the past week. We appreciate Twitch making the right decisions to finally suspend the streamer Frogan for abusing her platform and the TwitchCon event to spread anti-Semitic vitriol during this time of intense apprehension for the Jewish community. Twitch must learn from this situation and improve how they address anti-Semitism and hate on their platform, which is an ongoing and significant challenge. We encourage Twitch to take meaningful action, such as collaborating with the platform's Jewish community, providing staff, streamers, and moderators with anti-Semitism training, and updating how they review programming for their live events. We will continue to engage with the company to help ensure the platform is a safe, respectful, and inclusive space for all. We will also continue to hold them accountable when they fail in that responsibility. So this is confirmation that the ADL spoke to them today, and it looks like they had an effect, gang. Never say that advocacy doesn't make changes, but here we are. We're just going to end it tonight. My dog is crying for a walk, so I'm going to take her on a walk. I love you all, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye. Wait, bye. Bye.